We are glad you are here today. Today we're going to talk about college sports. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, it's for some of us, it's the most wonderful time of the year. March Madness. And apparently now even college sports can be political. A bunch of 18-year-olds playing football, basketball, whatever it may be. Now even that's made its way into the White House and political discourse because of course it has to. But I guess I'll ask the question this time. You think are we okay with college athletes getting paid with all this NLI or national name recognition likeness, and then what's eventually going to come? There's essentially going to be a salary cap, and so what are your guys' thoughts there?
Yeah, I say firstly in terms of like the government, anytime you put money in anything, the government's ready to jump in. So there's that. Yeah. But also I would say I think they should be paid, honestly. Because like if you're going to I feel like no one should make a profit off of someone else if they don't get some type of kickback or some form of payment in return.
Yeah, no, first time for everything. I'm going to.
This is Davis download history right here.
I'm going to agree. Again, they've literally taken over a month. They renamed the March. March you associate with the college basketball tournament. Like I think
let's pause here for a second. Why do they call it March Madness? But most of the month is not the madness. They've pushed it to April. That's so infuriating.
I hear you. I thought about that.
Anyways.
Really, only the Final Four and only the end of it is in April. But the madness, you have the conference tournaments last weekend, which those.
But to his point, when you think of March Madness, you don't think of the whole. You think of the last few games.
See, I would actually argue you remember maybe this is just the sport fan type person I am. I think of where it's 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm just watching wall-to-wall basketball.
Are you taking that PTO?
This year, I am not, unfortunately.
First
time in 3 years. But I have made it work. Math class, we're going to track the makes and misses, and we're going to make it an algebra problem. English class is already doing research on each college.
They say the best education replicates life.
Exactly. So they're already doing they're looking up the history on the colleges, doing a recap of their season, and they're going to write a recap. So I'm still watching the games. I just
have playing in the background.
It's going to be the main attraction.
That's good. That's good. I like it. Now I'm going to be the contrarian here. I have a caveat to why students should and at the same time should not be paid. So Let me make this case here. Okay. All right. So I do agree with Eli's main principle here that they need to be compensated. Somebody shouldn't be making a profit off of your own labor, off of what you do. I think we're all on the same page there. Where I disagree is that the institutions should be paying them. And so you think of the whole original argument with NIL. Was about whether the students could make profits off of their memorabilia, off of selling jerseys, signing posters, doing these type of things. I was all for that. What has led to the chaos and to the craziness, and like you said, with Congress getting involved, with the President of the United States creating a sports panel, which is quite incredible. When you think about how this is such a massive industry and business, with collegiate sports, the frustration and I think the rub that's coming in is how do college athletes who are enrolled at these institutions, in fact, at the same time get paid by these institutions? They're employees and at the same time students. Mm-hmm. So this is where the difficulty comes in. I think that is where I would draw the line. I don't think the institution themselves should be paying the students. Okay. I'm even okay with creating these third entities where there are these collectives, and I'm fine with that. And again, I'm fine with the memorabilia. To think how far we've come in just a short time is incredible. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the institutions directly should pay the students. I think that's where you get into trouble.
Here's why I would disagree though with that. Because like you think of Ohio State, you think of Duke, you think of all these places. Why do people want to be a part of those institutions? Because of their sports.
Certainly.
If it's simply just the educational standards, like, again, not to degrade any of these schools, but a lot of them, you could probably get the same gen education and things like that from your local community college.
Yeah.
But what's the draw? It's their sports program. And some of that is due to, the top of the line people. Michael Jordan at
UNC.
that's why people want to go there.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't that place? Oh, and they're making billions of dollars on students coming in and all these other things that they're getting. So they should be given a piece of the pie to these students. Now, I don't think it should be a huge pie because, again, if you have a all-star player who's playing down at whatever community college, he's probably not much of a crowd is coming out. So they need each other.
Yeah, my frustration and the complications, again, with this, while I do recognize the point that they deserve profit from their labor, again, my point is that not the institutions themselves. While I understand the institutions, I mean, Alabama's making a profit off of the football. North Carolina's making a profit off of the basketball, a massive profit. I just don't think the institutions need to be directly paying the athletes. The athletes, I know we hate to say this, but it needs to be said, the athletes are technically student athletes. They are enrolled at the institution. They are receiving a free full ride scholarship, which at some of these institutions over 4 years is over $250,000 of a value of what they're getting. I think the institutions, and they do, most of them, they should fully financially support these students with gear and with all the things they need to be successful, with food, with the special diets, with the weight rooms. All of those things, I think, are a part of the benefits package of being a Division I college athlete. Again, I just struggle with directly paying students from the college.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that, and it comes down to the organization, the NCAA. While I mean, they just, you talk about a group of guys who are bad at their job, right? Just almost any wide-ranging oversight. I mean, they put no parameters, and with all the rules and all the things that kind of go along with this, there's a big talk in college sports because it's not just, okay, now these players are getting paid, which I'm pro. The transfer portal, that's another thing that people don't like. Now you can transfer. I'm fine with it. I think it's just, you've got, which again, I don't think it's really that big of a deal, but the Rutgers and University of Southern California are in the same conference. Yeah. Right. So again, all of these things, it's changed so quick, and I think there's a little bit of, somehow we always come back to good old days around here, but I think it's just the idea of, in the good old days, it was better. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. When Allen Iverson and Ray Allen were at UConn and Georgetown and those places, they were still getting paid, right? It was just under the table. But so the NCAA, I think a lot of this can be cleared up. They just come out with some rules and some parameters. Right now, it's the Wild West. That's the issue, and nobody really knows these collectives, who's considered them, who's on them. It's just boosters and people who are already involved in the school. Yeah, it's just graduates. It's all of these people, right? And so that's the issue. It's not whether players get paid. And I guess I kind of see your point with the institution. They get a full ride, but student athletes are not the only people that get full rides. Valedictorians, you can get full rides in other ways. It's not like that's an exclusive, hey, you're an athlete, you get this. I just think the NCAA needs to get it together and just put some parameters on it so that way it can be organized.
Here's my thing. Why does it really matter? If let's say I am a Duke alumnus, why can't I say I want to give $300,000 to whomever I want? If you come to this school, I'll give you $300,000.
Yeah, and I think that's what the collectives are doing. Is that, you look at how Indiana University just won the national championship for football. How did that happen? Such a small football program. How did they become the national champion? They became the national champion so quick because of these collectives, because of these massive donors like Mark Cuban stepping in and saying, Indiana football is going to be good now. Yeah. And we're going to make sure that happens by getting the best players, getting the best transfers, and paying for them and for the best coaches as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's for bet, right? It's capitalism. It's one of the only areas in life where we see, and it's kind of funny, the people who are always capitalism, let the market. They're the ones who want to put it seems to be, right? Generalizations, right? But it seems to be that capitalism, free market wants to be like, whoa, we can't pay an 18-year-old to play. Well, why not? 18-year-olds can vlog and make so that, I think that's where kind of the logic makes sense. So a kid can go out and play quarterback for an institution, and up until a couple of years ago, right, 5, 6, 7 years ago, that he wasn't allowed to make any money. But his roommate, who's not an athlete but is just a regular student, can make a vlog or do almost anything and make the same amount of money. So I think that's where kind of like the issue is like, why was this ever even a thing in the first place?
Yeah, and it is crazy to think back. I mean, 5-10 years ago, how different things were. Poor Reggie Bush, right? But anyways, the distinction is this: like, is this a professional or is this an amateur? Right? That's the distinction that I think is obviously playing out in real time.
Yeah.
Is how are we going to qualify these individuals?
But that's the thing though. Like these college players, like yes, they're not professional in the sense that they're not in the NBA or an NFL or anything like that, but they are pretty top-notch athletes.
They are.
Like,
they're incredible.
They're essentially a professional player for all argument's sakes.
If professional athletes are top 1%, these guys are the 1.5%.
Yeah, like you don't get onto these courts just being your rookie amateur.
And I agree with that 100%. The complications, not only with what we've mentioned already, but the complications happen when we zoom out and we say, okay, now we have the basketball program, which is doing extremely well at North Carolina, but how about the water polo team?
But that's the thing.
That's
water polo don't bring anything in. You don't bring anything.
That's the issue. Like you can go play that sport and you can go do that, and I'm all for all those sports. I think those things are so cool when the men's lacrosse team or the women's lacrosse team are kind of like these more so secondary sports or Olympic sports. Like those are cool and those are fun, but like, hey, the best you're probably gonna get is a full ride, and like that's okay. Like. That's okay. It's just, the owner of Chick-fil-A who graduated from the University of Florida, unless his kid plays water polo or he was a water polo player or, pick your sport, he doesn't really care if they're good. But we do care if football is good because 10 million people are going to talk about football and 10 million people are going to watch the University of Florida play football. Like, why do we know anything about the University of Alabama? Like, why do we know anything about the University of Alabama? That makes no sense for... 90 for them to be maybe at this point one of the most recognizable colleges in the country, solely because of football. So it's like
I think too on that argument. So this will make sense in a second. But this morning I was listening to I like to listen to the Bible as I'm driving because that's what I do. I'm listening to Matthew, and it's the guy that comes out and he offers all the people a denarii to work. All hours, and he pays the person in the 12th hour the same amount as he does in the first hour. And he says, hey, that's what you agreed to. The person on the water polo team, they agreed to the scholarship. They agreed to free dorms. If you don't make $1 million, that's not what you agreed to, right? You know what? And again, nothing against the people that play chess or water polo. You may be the best at it, and you may be able to outswim or maneuver in chess than me or in whatever, but I'm thinking if you can't bring in the money, your opinion doesn't
and
matter.
Even to your point, like it can grow. Like you think about how far we come. Like 8 years ago, I would even say some of the minor men's college sports were like it's always going to be football number one, basketball, like that's just what it's always going to be, right? Mm-hmm. Football is football in America, and then again March Madness, like the branding, however they came up with that idea, the branding of it. Just you talk about a marketing degree that actually mattered. Whoever came up with that, like they carried it.
So you're saying chess needs better marketing?
That would be part of it, or you just like make yourself watchable. Like now, all of a sudden, I think you can legitimately make the argument that women's basketball is the number 3 college sport, and like people tune in now more so than. I mean, again, I don't know stats, but I bet if you ask an average sports fan, can you name somebody involved in women's college basketball or men's baseball? Right, you're probably going to get, and again, maybe it was just because of the Caitlin Clark and Angel, but again, that's kind of the point. Like, go be good, go find a transcendent water polo player, go find a transcendent, men's volleyball kid that makes it must watch, and that can take off. And then again, that kid should also, for not just lifting their program, not just lifting their school, lifting their entire sport. You're telling me, hey, the best you can do is like. Well, you got to go to economics for free today.
The thing is, again, I think every athlete in every program has to know its worth. When I had my 1998 Toyota Corolla, I wasn't selling that thing for $300,000. It just wasn't going to happen because it wasn't worth it. And again, I know some people are going to be mad at them. Like, man, I love to play field hockey. That just don't pay the bills. So pay each person what they're worth.
My thing though is on like. I think it's going to have to be determined conference by conference. It's going.
I think we're heading that way.
Because
I do think we're heading
when
that
we
way.
consider the NCAA and the mess that is, again, thinking of the dynamics we just discussed of the hundreds of schools across the country.
Yep.
You're talking about the continental United States, coast to coast, 3,000 miles you have to cover with the different economies that are involved there. Typically, these college towns, we've been to them, they're typically smaller towns that are actually thrive on the college themselves.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
And then you think about the multiple sports that are involved. I mean, from the chess team, like you said, all the way up to the football program. Like, these are extremely complex situations. And so for the NCAA to say, hey, this is the rule across the board, that's very difficult. And so I do sympathize with them in that, like, and that's a challenge to come up with rules that apply across all of that spectrum. And so I think it's going to have to be done conference by conference.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. And I think we're going to start heading that way. It's going to be like, and it kind of is. I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten, they essentially run the show. Like, what they want to have happen is going to happen. Like,
although the Big 12 is the best basketball conference.
They are. Houston's
that's
my guy.
champ. My champ.
Shout out Calvin. That's my guy.
He is great. My champ is from the Big 12, Arizona. That's who I'm going with. Who's
they
your
are
champ?
the number one. I'm rocking with Houston. I got a little hope for St. John's because those are my guys. Shout out to Rick Pitino. You talk about making a comeback. It's never too late, I guess.
Yeah, they won the Big East.
Back to back. Even Hofstra got in back from New York. So New York is well represented.
They're repping. Did you fill out a bracket yet?
I did not. I was going to, and then I just.
You ran out of time.
We still got
you
time.
have a team in mind.
We still got time.
I don't know. That's a great question.
That's okay. So your bracket's gonna be perfect, and the guy who watches hours upon hours of it will not make one correct choice.
I mean, honestly, even if you know everything about every person, your bracket's
And that's-
perfect
and
anyway.
that
So you
is-
might as
That's
well
why
just
it's madness.
throw it to the wind.
And
and
that is the other part of madness too. In football, like, your upsets happen, but there's so few. Like in basketball, it's like the ultimate equalizer. Like, anybody can legitimately win any day. Like, if you just get stupid hot from three and the other team just can't make a shot, it's awesome.
It's hilarious. So I'll sit there, I'll strain all week over each pick, and I'll be doing study, and I'll be watching film. I'm in and I'm invested. And then my wife, she'll just put together a bracket at the last second, and her bracket will perform better than mine.
Yes, it's amazing.
I remember I put my first bracket together in 9th grade, and I fully believed, like, Warren Buffett was gonna pay me. 'Cause I was like, yo, this is the best bracket. It was destroyed in like the first.
Yeah. Sometimes math can get in the way now. Algorithms and all of that. People are getting closer to it because it's getting closer. But it's just awesome. I mean, it's the most wonderful time of the year. These guys should get paid. Coaches who complain about it need to shut up. They really bother me the most.
Wow.
Because
Nick Saban left.
Yeah, and it's for years, and this will be kind of my last diatribe, but these guys are the ones who bother me the most about it. When they complain about how hard it is in the game, and they're like, it's so hard to coach, and these kids might leave, and we got to pay. Well, for years and years and years, how many kids have they looked in the office and be like, you've got to overcome hard. You've got to sit here and figure it out, right? I know you're not playing. I know you're the 12th man on the bench, but you just got to deal with that. You've got to figure it out. Life is hard. Now, all of a sudden, all these coaches, as soon as it gets a little bit hard for them, now when they don't have all of the power, when they actually have to build relationships with their players, when they actually have to coach and try to keep – no, it bothers me because all these guys are like – you teach all about these principles and life lessons, but when you've got to live them out, it's just too hard. I can't do it anymore. It's impossible to coach. No, it ain't.
I just want to know who you're talking to directly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's calling out names. He's calling out Dabo Sweeney. He's
Tony Bennett, Dabo Sweeney, all these guys that were able to do it when they're king on the castle, no one can come in their room. Now all of a sudden when like your players can actually be like, hey, if you're going to treat me like a bag of dirt, and I'm just going to leave. Yeah. Like, and there's no penalty. Now all of a sudden it's impossible. Yeah. Oh, Tony Bennett really bothered me the way it's just so hard. I can't do it. Shut up. You had this whole quote about adversity buys you a ticket. Well, I guess you cashed out real quick.
Hey,
but,
Tony, this is your opportunity. Come on the Davis download.
I wish he would.
The
UMBC's back in the tournament.
The Davis Download is a great friend of Tony Bennett and Dabo Sweeney. They're Christians. We love these guys. We're on the same team.
Well, don't get me started on Dabo.
We love these guys.
They're great coaches, but that really bothers me when they say how hard it is to coach nowadays.
Honestly, I empathize with the coaches as well. It's a mess. I mean, we talked about there are no restrictions. We talked about how, like, these, with the payment methods, right? The biggest frustration is there is no contract. Dabo Sweeney was complaining about he has a player enrolled in classes at Clemson, and he has another coach within the conference texting him and saying, hey, whatever Clemson gave you, I'll sign you to $1 more or however much more in your new contract with us. I mean, that is kind of messed up.
Yeah,
there needs to be some integrity.
That's where I agree. In terms of the parameters, there's, again, whatever you want to call it,
Sign a contract.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being like, because that's the other part of it too. You can't just say, hey, we're going to pay these kids millions of dollars and then like this that's what the whole saga with one of the best players in the country, Darren Peterson on Kansas. A lot of people thought he was just like not playing because he was like he would just be like, coach, I'm good, sub me out like after 2 minutes because it was draft stock or whatever. Now I think there was other things that were in play, but again, it's like, hey, if you don't play in 15, like anywhere else, if we're going to pay you.
Here's the thing though, like with that, in any job you take, though,
exactly,
you can have someone like if I work at CVS and Walgreens calls me up. Hey, here's the thing: if Walgreens can offer me $10 more,
I'm going there.
Sorry, CVS,
and no one's gonna be like, "Oh, you're such a scumbag for going over and switching." Are you kidding me? But where's your loyalty? Like nobody in no other area do we look at.
I agree, but there is a season. You can't just be switching mid-season.
But that's where the NCAA.
No stocking,
I agree, and that's where the NCAA just needs to come in and be like, the transfer portal. You can enter it whenever you want. The only time, if this is the legal period, just like there's always been with live periods with recruiting and dead periods with recruiting, this has always been the case, right? Now, if people always gotten around it, yeah, we have coaches on camera being like, yeah, of course we're getting around it, of course we're cheating, right? These guys get caught, but these are always been the case. I think now, again, with social media, we just know about it quicker.
The thing is, I'm just saying, in terms of real life, I worked at FedEx for a while. It was amazing, right? High season is around Christmas time, but guess what? UPS was sending me emails saying, "Hey, we'll take you if you come." And if they would have given me a little bit better,
if it's a better situation, you take it.
So I'm saying, in terms of the students, like, why even limit to when another coach can talk to them? Step up, like you were saying, be more intentional, with those relationships, and hopefully you get a little bit more loyalty buy-in than an extra dollar can give you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, it's impossible from a coach's perspective. I agree.
That part is
from
tough.
The competition, but I mean, you're talking on a football team in college. These teams have 100 players.
Yeah, and if like the backup, and again with Dabo, it probably isn't telling you is that's like his third string left tackle that he doesn't really care about anyway. But he can go to the media and cry and get some clicks. Which credit for him, he's a great marketer. He's keeping Clemson and his name in the news. It's great and it's awesome, but it's probably not a player that actually is of any substance. I'm venturing.
Yeah. Again, let these kids do whatever I'm all about let freedom reign. If they want to go, let them go. Here's the thing. This is probably for most of them. This is probably the most time that they can make any type of big money.
You've got 4 years to either make all this money or put yourself in a position to get drafted, right? So if it takes moving the 4 different schools to make that happen, go for it. You've got 4 opportunities, 4 seasons to.
But to that point though too, if they move 4 seasons, what coach is going to be like, I want to take that kid on? So it kind of balances itself out. Like, hey, he's just going to keep hopping to the next best deal.
If you can put the ball in the basket, I don't care where you've been.
Yeah. Down. Let's land the plane here. I want to hear your guys' NIL deals with the great Davis College.
The great Davis. Firstly, for soccer, I would have recruited myself.
What was the NIL package at Davis?
We might have to wrap up. Yeah, let's not. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say that.
We have nothing but nice things to say about the great Davis College, my man John A. Davis here. And we can't leave out the great Dr. Padron. On that note, we'll end there.
Gatorade would have been nice.
Thank you for joining the Davis Download.